really specify the question. Right?
Sure. So what's your birthday?
24th of June, 81.
81? So 6, 6, number 10, 10, 20, 30, minus 4, and 10, 2, 4 is 6. Okay. What's going on for you right now is that Pluto is in opposition to Cancer, and you're a Cancer. So you're dealing with a Pluto opposition to your sun sign, which is the biggest karmic transformation of your life. And it's sitting right on you, which means you feel like you have got to change. Like your whole spiritual awareness has got to change. And Pluto is a very intense planet about philosophy, what you think, what you believe, and what you perceive. And so Pluto is disassembling you, breaking you down, tearing you apart, rearranging everything. Now this is great because the Sufis have a phrase that says die before you die. And so you're kind of metaphorically dying right now. It's like the old you is dying, the new you is trying to be reborn, but we don't know what it is for a second. So I like to think of it as a seed. That seeds and the ground work really hard to get to the light. So you're that seed sprouting right now, but you've got all this resistance, which is the dirt that you're trying to get out of, okay? But there's this force that's coming out of you that's trying to grow, but you can't see it right now. So on the surface, you can't see it, but there's this thing that's pushing you. Now, you have been a very, very strong, powerful, religious person in past lives. In this lifetime, you are trying to balance out sexuality and spirituality. So your numbers say you've been very spiritual but not sexual, or you've been sexual and not spiritual, and you're trying to do both, okay? And of course you can do both, it's just a little trickier, all right? So you're trying to say, can I be a sexual, spiritual person? Yes. So you will be drawn to spiritual practices and techniques that are quiet or still or meditation oriented, and that would be the way I would go. Like if I look at your numbers, I would be like, you know, I'd try meditation, I would try Zen, I would try Buddhism, I would try anything that's very quiet and still, because it's easy for you. Like some people that say they're noisy in their head, like I'm noisy in my head, you're very quiet in your head, like you like the quiet. So I would go for those tools and those techniques. I would find a really, really good teacher that you really trust, because your numbers like to have a structure. So they like to have a routine, they like to have a structure, and they like to have somebody that they trust that can be that supporter, that guide. You're supposed to have your own business. Do you have your own business?
I'm running the business. I'm head of the business, but it's not my own.
Okay. So in a perfect world, I would love for you to have your own business. Okay. And I know you're young still. Okay. But I'm just throwing out
I had already a couple, but I ended up not having.
Okay. So I'm just throwing out a positive thought virus.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm telling you that you'll be much happier and much more content. So right now, think of it as a training ground for having your own business. And it's a centering game also. Now, you have karma in intimate relationships. Do you find intimate relationships challenging? You're a Cancer, so you're going to want them really, really badly, but it's also the challenge point for you.
I have them challenging, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, for average people, they would treat them challenging.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah. So what'll happen is with your numbers, you're a Cancer male, which is the perfect male for getting married. Like it's the #1 sign for getting married as a male. So the women are going to be drawn to you, but you've got such a good center that you're going to get a little bit of the crazy women. Okay. So what we want to do is screen out crazy women. Okay, so we're looking for nice, calm, centered, reasonable, women.
So how do you do that?
Yeah, it's like good luck, I know, isn't it? It's like I talk about the needle in the haystack again. Anyway, but you kind of know that the most chaotic feminine is going to be drawn to the most monastic, centered, quiet, still masculine. And you're going to be a perfect target, okay? So just kind of know that you want somebody that preferably would be in a spiritual path similar to yours, in a meditative path similar to yours. I mean, that's why I'd pick something like Buddhism or Zen or something that, there are women in those traditions, so that at least you have a base that you can kind of communicate on. You need a lot of space and quiet. So even if you're married, I mean, you need your meditation room, or you need your own space. Like, you need a place to get away from the feminine, because we're like a coffee clutch, as they say in German. We're like a coffee house. We're just, there's just constant noise and motion, and you actually need that stillness a little bit. You're searching for win-win and balance and harmony, and based on your numbers, you'll definitely get there, but you're completely rearranging yourself over the next 4 years. 4 years from now, I would love to see if you could have your own business. You have a doorway right there. So I want you to think ahead and kind of go, hey, if I could do my own business, what would I do? I've got 4 years to plan it. You can do anything in 4 years, right? So I want you to think ahead like that. Okay? So for you, you need a spiritual practice. Do you have a spiritual practice now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so good. So, because that's it, so you need a tradition. Some people, I'm a non-tradition person. You're a tradition person. So you need that tradition. It works for you. It's beautiful for you.
Yeah, I'm in the tradition. The business which I'm running is a spiritual, so it's...
Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so I'm good with all of that. That's perfect. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, regarding the relationship, you brought it up, so regarding one specific person.
Okay.
What is the connection with that person?
Okay, do you know their birthday?
Probably, yeah. February 8th, I think, and 75.
Okay, so 8 to...
Yeah, it should be like...
12, 4, 10, 20, 32, 5, 10, 21, 22, 4. Okay. Okay, numerologically, you and her are opposites, but opposites attract. Okay, so you have to remember, even though you have this camaraderie, she doesn't think like you, she doesn't behave like you, she doesn't process like you, she doesn't analyze information like you. So it's like she's going this way and you're going that way. Now you both will end up at the same place, but you're going 2 different ways to get there, okay? So if you just sort of remember that, it makes it a lot easier, because you'll think you're on the same page and you'll suddenly realize you're not on the same page, and you'll think, what the heck happened, right? Kind of. So she's very sweet, she's positive, and she's funny, and she's upbeat. She's very metaphysical, and she's very esoteric, and she's been probably a yogi on a mountaintop. Does she do yoga now?
Yeah.
She should be great. She'd be great. I mean, like, if I could pick, I'd say make her a yoga teacher. She has beautiful numbers for that. Or for her to be a healer, so somehow, but yoga, healing, it's all the same thing. So, a teacher, a yoga teacher, a yoga healer, somebody who's moving energy in those ways would be great. So the connection with you and her is interesting, because it says that Michael the Archangel actually put you guys together, that you've been doing spiritual practices together in past lives, and even though you're very different, there's this incredible connection or communication, so that it's very easy. There's kind of an ease there. So it's nice. It's actually nice. It's good.
We're living in different countries.
Oh, it's in different countries? Oh, rats. Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, long distance is tough. What country is she in?
That's in Europe.
Bummer.
I'm from Europe also.
Yeah. It's too bad. Do you want to bring her over here?
Don't think so.
You don't think so? Well, there you go.
I'm just interested in the connection.
Yeah, no, the connection is that you've been in spiritual practices together, and you're communicators with each other, and you're spiritual guides for each other, and you definitely have come at things from 2 angles, but you end up at the same place, so it's very cool. Okay, somebody else? Okay.
I had a rough year in 2009, especially towards the end, and everything kind of unraveled, every aspect of my life kind of unraveled.
Right.
And I made a lot of changes and put it all back together, and I just was kind of wondering, deciding I'm good for the future.
Okay. Let's find out. She's like, please God. I just unraveled everything. I hope this is going to be better. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Well, it already feels good.
Yeah. No, this is a lot better. Boy, last year really was bad, wasn't it? It's like, ooh, okay. Yeah, so you've had to turn a sense of futility into hope. You've had to take misery and depression and loss and stuckness and somehow create movement out of that, which you have done, which is brilliant. It was exhausting. It took a tremendous amount of energy, and it was hugely conflicted. It was incredibly difficult, and it was energy draining. And sometimes you thought you were crazy, like, am I crazy? Am I doing the wrong thing? But you were miserable, you know, so you really didn't have to choose. I mean, it was just like, I'm so miserable, I've got to do something else no matter what. And it upset the apple cart like nobody's business. I mean, let's just say, you know, all your family was like, what happened to you? Kind of thing. And I'm like, she matured and grew up and took responsibility for herself and said, it's my turn. And I love that when a woman does that, because it's very hard to get women to do that. So this is significantly better. It's a lot happier. There's a lot more patience. There's a lot more clarity. There's a lot more hope. There's a lot more movement. There's a better flow. It's better all the way around. So it's definitely better. So is there a new relationship in your life?
No, just a new start.
A new start.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like there's this freshness in intimacy. There's a fresh energy kind of coming at it from a different angle, which is beautiful. Okay. Anything else?
My daughter and her partner have decided to move to Seattle,
Okay.
and which is great, fun. I just thought maybe you might have some insight.
Yeah. So, and I agree. It's like, you know, I hear the angels all excited. It's like, yay, they're going. This is really good. So somehow I think the angels have been trying to get that to move for a while. And it's somebody's dream. So somehow it's somebody's dream. I don't know whose dream it was, but it was somebody who really wanted to get up to the Northwest area. It's very powerful for them. It's very empowering. They love this. They're just going to love this. It's really beautiful. It's really positive change. Now, does she have a child? Does she want a child?
No, she has a partner she is probably like a child. She takes care of.
Oh, okay. Well,
that relationship is sort of, you know, mother-child.
Oh, okay, okay. Because it's just, she's showing up as the mothering person. Okay, so that makes more sense then. So this is working. She needs to go there. This is really good for her. She's going to make some good money. She feels really secure with herself. She feels like her intuition has guided her beautifully, so it's lovely. Cool. Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Well, about a year ago, I went back, I don't know, I was a friend of mine, I don't want to name names, but anyway, she went back to school and she was like, you need to come with me, go back to school. It always was back in my mind to do it.
Right.
And at first I was like, no, I can't do it. So when I made the decision, no, I couldn't sleep for days. And so, I don't know, it was the wrong decision, so I changed it to a yes.
Okay.
And so I'm going to school at one university, then another program came available. So I'm going to school at 2 different universities right now for 2 different programs. But all I know, and people say, well, what are you going to do? And all I know about it is I have to do it to prepare myself for something, for a change. So I don't know how to answer to them. I go, well, it gives me options.
Right.
It opens doors.
Right.
Somehow I have to do it.
Right. Right.
But I have no clue how to answer it to people. So I'm in 2 different universities, 2 different programs. It's been a major energy drainer.
Right.
But I feel I don't know what is it, the outcome possibly?
Well, what's cool is that the outcome is great, and what I heard the guides say is that they said that you're actually completing 2 different lifetimes at the same time. So evidently you didn't finish these things in 2 totally separate lives. Mm-hmm. And so it's an unusual circumstance. This is very rare. It doesn't always happen like this. So that you really have an opportunity and the energy to complete 2 lifetimes of school that got stopped. Like one of them got stopped because of war, and one of them got stopped because of disease. And so you were unable to finish these things. And so you completing these things finishes up those lifetimes, and those lifetimes, their knowledge and their wisdom and their information will be able to integrate into you better. So it's like a reclaiming of your soul. It's sort of weird, which is why you don't know why you have to do it, but you have to do it. It's like this funny
I'm
thing.
compelled almost.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever you have that word compelled, you know it's karma. So whenever I feel that I'm obsessed or compelled, I know that that's some sort of karmic agreement that I'm needing to do. And so one of the things the angel said to me years ago is that no part of yourself may be left behind. And so that's what's happening. Like these parts got left behind. They didn't get to finish something they really wanted to finish. It's now represented by school. And so for them to be able to have the degree and finish it, it's a finish to that lifetime, and they'll feel resolved and complete, and they'll integrate inside you. And you're going to need these skills. I mean, you're right, you're going to need these skills for the next thing, but you're synthesizing something, you're pulling some different information from very different quadrants and putting them together and spitting out a whole new thing. So it's why it's a little nebulous, like you can't see it, because until you have all those completed and you start out there in the workforce, you're actually going to be pulling some different things together to make it work.
Right, because what I think of how it would work, I don't know if that's what others think.
Right, right. Well, and it's like what I always notice with my own intuition is how my ego mind pictures it is rarely how it works, but that picture becomes the energy to propel me towards the thing that it actually is. So rarely do I get my picture end result wise, but that picture becomes the motivator. And to get me to the really cool thing that I had no idea I even wanted, that ends up being better than the picture, is usually how it works.
Yeah, all I can say is it's gonna. I need it for opportunity.
Yeah.
So what, as far as the future opportunity,
Great.
might be?
Great. I mean, your cards are great. I mean, it's a hell of a lot of work right here. I mean, I give you that. This is like, you know, I mean, so you need to take your ginseng and make sure you get enough sleep. And, you know, I just go, you've got a lot on your plate right here, but it's really beautiful. I mean, you'll end up making great money. It gives you tremendous stability and strength. It really opens your mind to some new possibilities, and it really gets you to claim your wisdom and your information and your skill. Like, you actually finally believe in yourself. Like, it's taken this long to get you to believe in yourself. And when you complete these 2 degrees, I mean, nobody's going to take it from you ever again. Like, you're just not going to believe any minimizing thing in your head, because you're like, okay, wait a second, nothing was as hard as that year that I did those 2 things, and you know, and I got these 2 different degrees, and holy Toledo, but I totally trust myself now. So it's got tremendous value for you being able to trust yourself.
Good.
Okay.
I have a quick question. I have a friend that I've had for 25 years. We both raised our kids, and the last 2 or 3 years we've gone, according to her, estranged. Our relationship has gone that way. And she lives on my street, and we hardly talk to each other, although our kids are still friends.
Right.
She's totally religious, and she has married her high school boyfriend, and they have this perfect little life, and I'm like totally opposite, where I live, you know, day to day. And so, do you see like anything about what I should, like what the problem is, or what I need to do to make a change, or did we just outgrow each other?
On one level, you might have outgrown each other, and I kind of say sometimes you have to let things come apart to come back together again. And somehow there's a huge disappointment. So I don't know what you did that created disappointment, but she feels disappointed. And I don't know what caused that, and because of that, she really struggles with that. And, you know, again, I always say to people that these things can be very subtle energy things. Like, you could have said the exact phrase that her sister said to her when she was 5 that upset her, and you said that exact phrase and she shut you out and you became her sister projection. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't even mean you did something, really. It just means that they're reacting to some particular thing. The guides actually think that this may come back around, but it'll be a while. I mean, it's going to be a while. So what I always say is I just don't put wood on a fire. I just keep practicing compassion. I keep being very loving and kind, and I don't say anything bad, and I just let them work through it, and then at some point they'll kind of come back around in the energy. Okay? Somebody else. Okay? Go ahead.
Yeah, what have you got for me?
She goes, okay, I did all my kids. She's like, what
I want to
about?
know about me.
Okay, so what's your birthday?
12/12/42.
Well, what's good for you is that you just came out of the Pluto cycle. So from 1995 until the end of 2008, you were in a Pluto cycle, and it was rough. I mean, that was incredibly difficult cycle. You were in a very karmic, transformational cycle, and it was hell for the Sagittariuses. So Pluto in Sagittarius was very adversarial. Pluto hates Sag, and it was miserable. My sister's a Sag, and it was like a serious crash and burn. Like, every Sag just felt like they could not get out from underneath the craziness. It was very, very frustrating. So what I love about your numbers is that, you know, minus the Pluto cycle, so if you notice that was a 12-year cycle, but normally you are this positive, funny, upbeat, happy-go-lucky, good-natured person. Now Pluto beat the heck out of you, and so it's kind of pushed you down a little bit, and it's been really hard. So you felt like you were on this roller coaster that you couldn't get off. And you aren't a super late degree, but you're enough of a late degree that you might notice that you're still feeling hit. So there's an aspect that's hitting the later degree Sages, and some of the later degree Sages are just feeling like, Geminis, I thought you said Pluto was over, and I said, oh, Pluto's over, it's a different thing now. So it's a different astrological aspect. So we've got 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, so 4, 16, 17, 18. You're standing at the door, thank goodness, at your birthday. You're in a year of grief and loss and sadness, which is why you brought up the kids and that particular son and everything. So you're dealing with a very intense, heavy emotional burden right here. It starts to resolve itself at your birthday, which is great. So it's going to calm down and resolve itself and balance itself out. Let's see what we got here. Oh, Gemini Christmas. It's just, you
I'm on a roller coaster, is that it?
yeah, but like a roller coaster that's going down into the water. So you feel like things just won't go up. Do you know what I mean? It's like up would be good even if it's a crazy up, but you're getting all the down. You know, you're definitely getting hit with all the down stuff. And you're feeling inundated and you're trying to help. I mean, God love you, you're trying to help. But you're not getting anybody listening to you very good, which is very frustrating.
Yep.
So, yeah, you know, I mean, it's sort of like centaurs are wisdom keepers, and, you know, when a centaur is not listened to, it's very frustrating. So, and it's confusing for you. You think, you know, why are they not getting this? And I'm like, probably because they can't see it, you know, so that what seems so obvious to you is completely blind to them. And people always say, oh, I know my blind spots, and I start laughing because I just go, well, that's why it's called a blind spot. It means you can't see it. So you may think you know your blind spots, but they're real blind spots you actually can't see inside yourself. And you're dealing with a whole bunch of kids with a whole bunch of blind spots, with a whole bunch of karma that's totally related to their father. I have no idea. You know, it's like, you know, and it's like, you know, yeah, the genetics are tough. Yeah. The genetics and the genetic load they're carrying in relationship to their dad is enormous. And you know, sometimes you just gotta let them go through it. It's frustrating, but you just gotta let them go through it. So it's painful. I mean, because you're literally sitting there watching them in excruciating agony, and there's nothing you can do. They're not letting you help them. It's just like, wow, I am so sorry.
What about my granddaughter? Will she ever, besides my son, will she ever with me?
Will she ever get you?
No, not get me. Will she ever want to be around me?
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, she will, but it's about 4 years out. How old is she?
She's 20.
Okay, 24. Now, when people go through their Saturn return, which is between 28 and 32, is usually where you see them finally get it. So I always say people shouldn't really complete college until they're 28, because if you complete college at 22, I guarantee you'll change your career at 28 to 32. And so there's this weird thing. It's sort of a shame, but that's kind of how it goes. So, but she will. She'll actually come around.
Okay, now, one more question and I'm good. I have a situation with my shoulder and my right arm. Is there ever going to be any kind of change with that?
Yeah, it takes a lot of work because you really have a big problem in there. Do you know what I mean? So you have a structural big problem in there. So you definitely have to deal with it structurally. So and there's a limitation to that, but there's a big energy block in there too. So there's a damage. You have a past life damaged wound that killed you. It's actually a death blow. So you were hit so hard in a battle that it killed you in a past life, and the energy is locked in your shoulder.